So check this out. She's a newlywed, 7 months pregnant. She's the breadwinner, and she lets her husband know, hey, I'm going into a career where you don't get paid to work. You get paid if you sell something. And she went for it. And here we are years later with this wonderful independent brokerage that is thriving. And ironically, it's Thrive Realty. My good friend, Jessica Woodbeck. Jessica, so cool to have you here.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So let's jump in. Let's go into, because and you know this, and us being friends for years and working together, I had a mom that just had that fierceness that you have, and we're doing this. And so for any leader though too, I think it's the power of a woman like yourself and your peers. I know myself in watching and just going, oh, I think I'm disciplined and committed, and you're spinning pots and doing all this stuff. You women out there. So to inspire the men and the women out there, talk about that point in your life where you said, I'm just going to go for this entrepreneurial piece. And then you just unpack it all the way through and what you feel is important for anyone to hear so that you can do what I know you love to do, and that's inspire people.
Okay. So that choice point was, I had gotten licensed while I was at corporate America in 2009. So at the absolute bottom epitome of the economy, falling out. I'm like, real estate sounds good.
No wonder you and Dan Beer are friends. That's when he got in too.
Yeah, it just made sense. Everyone was exiting. I'm a stand in the gap kind of person. So I'm like, I should go into that. And I really only did it as a backup plan because I was in automotive. I'm a 4th generation automotive person. We're in Metro Detroit. So we're with the big 3. And during periods of time like that, when the economy bottoms out, they restructure constantly. And so I thought, okay, I'm a single mom. I got to just make sure I've got a plan B here. And I've always loved real estate. It runs kind of as a hobbyist line within my lineage. And so I went for it, loved it, but did it part-time because I'm a single mom, the safety of the security net. And then I was pregnant. I was 7 months, and I'm like a big pregnant person. I'm not like she pulls
because
it off.
You're little.
Yeah. No, I'm just like, woo, I'm out there. So I'm waddling into work that day. And I thought, oh my gosh, tomorrow's my last day. I go on maternity leave. And I called my husband. I said, I think it's now or never. This will be our 2nd child. And if I don't bust open this safety net and go for it, I'm going to be here walking this pathway, the societal norm, the tradition for my family for the rest of time. And I really didn't fit in. I was like a black sheep there, too smiley, too community driven. Everyone's very heads down there. And he's like, whoa, just wait a second, come home. Let's talk this through. Very next day.
Have you been drinking at work?
Yeah, exactly. Like maybe this is the pregnancy. I'm like, oh, don't go there. And so the next day I resigned and I never went back. And from 2013 to 2016, it was a massive struggle. My husband's a team player, so he actually got licensed at the same time because when I have a baby, I can't have an income coming in because I'm going to have to take a little bit of time off, maybe a day or two. And so he got licensed, helped show property for me if I needed it, just so that we didn't stop the momentum. And then in 2015, he actually retired because we made his salary in 1 month. And that was a showstopper for both of us.
You're rich.
Yes, we felt rich. We're staring at our bank account like, who's coming for this money?
Right.
It can't be all ours.
So good.
Yeah.
Because I know poor, believe me.
Yes. And we were there. I mean, we were robbing Peter to pay Paul. We were on special things for our energy bills, our consumer bills. And so when that happened, it really was this kind of like, holy cow, what could this really be? And so 2015, he went full time and we formed our first sales force. So in 2016, we hired an employee and really started to go after it. And when I say go after it, we were guessing. We were just out there, right? We're knocking on doors. We're hustling sales. And here in Metro Detroit at that time, like 150K was our average price point. And so you had to hustle. I mean, you really had to hustle to make good money. So that's what we did. And we did it until the franchise we were a part of said, hey, you, what would it look like if you came over here and was a team leader? And so after
And so were
months,
you were at another company and they came for you, or are you already with the company? And
I had moved us to this company. And so we were there for about 18 months.
Okay.
And that's when a good friend of mine, a peer of mine, was looking at purchasing a region in the franchise. And he was like, I want you to be the team leader. And I'm like, oh, I did corporate America. I really don't. I'm enjoying the freedom of just doing our own thing. After lots and lots of negotiation, we got to the point where I'm like, okay, this would be a great experience of learning big business, which I really wanted to learn how to do it if we were going to grow a business, not just simply sell real estate.
Very good.
And so I took on the opportunity. It's
what did let me stop you there real quick. What do you think?
Yeah.
Because here's what's real important. You're a great leader. I've watched, listen, I'm maturing alongside you. So this isn't, and I'm watching my children. We're growing together. We grow in our relationship. And so as you look at that, because now one of the big, most challenging, we've talked about this, the most challenging thing is a sales manager, right? That role. And so for your experience in what you went through, but also your coaching, because by the way, Jessica's one of my coaches, jessica.cheplaklifecoaching.com. All I have are powerhouse women, and then some guys that hang out in coaching too. The guys that can take it, they can handle it. But here's from two perspectives, because this is such, I was talking with Dan yesterday about this. We sat in a room, we're talking about this sales management thing. What do you think they saw in you to decide that you could be a leader? You could drive sales, you could bring people in. What do you think it was?
I'm a community builder at heart. So
community.
Just community. I mean, and I think I'm smarter than I look. I'm a little, I'm a little savage in my approach to.
Oh yeah,
there's
your types are like the nuclear power plants. Like it's, I mean, you can feel your energy, but there's like this freaking inferno that's down in there. You can't see.
For it,
right?
Yeah. I have no problem doing that. So
right.
I think that's a part of that kind of spirit that you want in somebody to run an organization, to improve an organization, to build it to what they had the vision for. I wasn't.
Do you think they saw, I'm going to phrase it. Do you think they saw hunt in you also?
Yeah. There's no
or they think, oh, people will like, if they were looking at the two, hey, people will like her, or she's a hunter. If there were one of the two, which one do you think they saw?
I don't think it was, I'm not as bubbly as I think my smile gives off. I'm not as that bubbly. So I think it's
you're intense. You've got an intense energy, as we both. Yeah.
Yeah, I think more the hunter vibe. And I do appreciate and respect community. And I think in our industry, when you can build a community around the spirit of production and health and building that wealth piece, people gravitate towards that. That's what everybody wants. Everyone wants to be happy, healthy, and free. So I think that's what he saw. And we were both relatively the same age. We had successful sales forces. And so when we went at that, I didn't realize at the time, naive as hell going into this, I didn't realize it was the largest region in Michigan. I didn't really understand what it would feel like to run two separate locations with 253 agents. And in the region, we had 29 offices. We were like number 28. So, I mean, it was a rebuild, a complete rebuild. And, that's a lot. That's a lot.
So you took the unpopular job on many levels.
Yes. Yes, I did. And I really had no idea what that was going to be.
Someone set a trap.
Yeah. They're like, come on over. It'll be so much fun.
It'll be great. Yes, I promise.
Yes. So I had to walk in, and I'm always, I'm a people person. So I want to hear what people think, how they're running their roles. I assessed everybody. I had to be the unpopular favor of saying, hey, I found a new place for you to go. I think it's best that we part ways and move you into potentially this sales force within the company rather than working on this company. and we rebuilt an elite team. And I mean, John, I went from understanding the assignment, so to speak, and realizing we don't have time to go slow here. You know, you can hire emerging talent, you can hire proven talent, and we were in you need proven talent because you got to giddy up. Otherwise, we were going to eaten alive. That territory was being eaten alive. And just to give you an example for anyone listening, our territory here in Michigan as a state has about 40,000 licensees, a little over that. And in the territory where we're living in and that we sell in currently, we have over half of those licensees that we compete with.
Really?
Saturated beyond.
As much as I've operated with folks in that area, I never realized that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean,
So it's a bloodbath.
It is. I mean, you're competing on every listing. You don't get to walk in and go, haven't you seen my videos? I get to be here. Like, it's not that. They're like, I saw yours and everyone else.
Haven't you seen my videos?
Yeah, it's not, they don't care. I mean, they get to know you, but beyond that, like you're really, I mean, you're fighting for your work for sure. Right. So, and this goes to, I think this kind of describes what I'm all about as a leader. My partner at the time said, we got to go fast. I said, great, I'm your gal, pedal to the metal, let's go. Here's what I know that will be required of going at the speed we need to go at. We need an elite team. So he's like, great, let's do it. We hired an Olympic wrestler who brought home the silver to be our productivity coach, never sold an ounce of real estate in his life. He had his license, he was an investor, but he never sold. And that was because I needed to kind of redefine what people looked at from an accountability standpoint in real estate. Who better than an Olympian to hold you accountable to basic techniques over and over and over again? And we brought in a director of operations she's known as an angel market center administrator because she is so elite. We got her relocated to come work with us.
Interesting.
Yes. So, I mean, some mega hitters, we built out this team because we needed to go fast right off the rip. We didn't have time to go slow.
Okay.
And I'll give you an example of what that looked like. I walked in day 2 after visioning, right? We went through vision planning, project planning, 12 months, 24 months. And we had already discussed wellness had to be at the crux of this. Like, you know, we got an Olympian on staff. We've got someone like me on staff that's like, hey, you got to take care of you in order to take care of others. Right. And my partner was like, all right, I'm all in. I'm going to do this. I walk in, it's 8:30 a.m. and on his desk was a soda. And in this hand were Cheetos. I about lost my shit. I'm like, what's happening? I said, what are you doing? He's like, what? Our meeting's not till 9. And John, I've learned a lot since this. This was almost 5 years ago. I batted the Cheetos out of his hand. I said, you come see me when you're serious. We can't get to that finish line eating Cheetos.
I love you because you make me, I'm editing this clip out. You think Cheplak's this and that, blah, blah, blah. I'm soft. Here, watch this. Oh my God. I love it.
I had to. And from that day, guess what happened? In 12 months, that man's life changed. We built an empire. He's never been healthier. He had a better relationship because of it. And I'm a proponent of that. What you do in here is how you behave out there. So you can't say I'm elite and not embody it. So yeah, we went on that year to take second in the region, recruited 153 agents for 144 million swing. And at that time, again, the average price point was 150K. So, you know, that was unit driven.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, wow. So cool. How long were you in that role?
I was almost 2 years. So we had hit a point. This is right when I hired you. This was in 2019. Do you remember?
You remember the question you asked me?
Yes. Oh, I remember. Yes. Because I had hit the wall, right? I'm off a stellar year. And now I'm hitting the wall where I'm like, oh my God, I can save you 6 figures. I have an Olympian who can hold you accountable and you still don't want to move. What? Yeah. I'm like, who's this John Cheplak? I'm like, John, you tell me one thing. Do people make a move based on emotion or logic? Because you know me, I'm just all logic. And
I think I said, I'm going to save us some time. You sound direct. You've done good things. So I'll just save us all some time. Sorry. No, I think you were more direct. You said to me, You tell me that people choose logic, and I said, I'm sorry, I'm going to save you time. No, it's not. Emotion, you go, okay, hired. I'm like, that was a trap.
Yeah. Wait, you were questioning me? I'm like, yeah, I just didn't know, right? I mean, and that was the real struggle, was how do you move people towards something you know will serve them better? But
so you were still in that role at that point in time?
Yep.
That's right.
Still in that role. Yeah, I was team leading. And we had built an attraction model. That was the biggest thing I needed to do outside of recruiting, right? Was the attraction model piece of, hey, new name, new management, so to speak, we're different. And that's when I rolled out with agent panels, brand agnostic events. Our events were, I mean, they weren't massive because we weren't national, but
Sure.
hyper local. There were 150 people. I flew in speakers. I mean, we were doing all the right things, and it showed, right? I mean, the momentum that was built was amazing. They didn't need me at the end of that 2-year run. It was built and it was good. And I love building. You try and put me in this box of just like, stay here, trapped animal. I'm going to just gnaw my way through that. It's not for me. So
I think everyone's figured that one out now. Yeah. So real quickly, because I do want to go to the next step and what's happening, since it's really, really important, but that backfill, thank you. Here's what I want to talk about though. Like, you came in and with your personality, your purpose, and your principles, you had to have a lot of churn. Like, here you are at number 28, 29, you need to go. So you went from the bottom to the top, but you had to lose a lot. I mean, intentionally, and probably there was some fallout unintentionally too. Fair enough?
Yes.
But what I want everyone to hear is she moved up to number 2 because she freaking stayed ruthless about recruiting, period.
Yep. I was absolutely. And I am a straight and honest shooter. I don't want my roster full of dead people. I don't want my roster full of non-performers. I don't want my roster full of people that haven't paid a bill in 10, 20 months. And so I sent them all back to the state at that point. I came in and I said, hey, we're going to reach out to every single one of them. If they don't respond, they're gone.
That was it. That's an easy one. That's a really easy one in a mega office. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So then the exit, what got you out of there? What happened next? The 2 years?
You know what?
Boom.
Now this is a little vulnerable. Based on the speakers I brought in, these were hyper local, top producing, I mean, mega people making mega money.
Sure.
And seemingly cracked the code to real estate. And except for behind that curtain, which I'm the biggest fan of, like, show me what's behind that curtain. They were miserable. They're unhealthy. Their relationships were suffering. They were suffering. Money wasn't buying them happiness. And I thought, oh my God, do I keep going down this route of showcasing these folks and being a part of this nasty hamster cycle that real estate has? Or do I say, okay, I've fulfilled my promise here. I've built a momentous empire for these folks. Maybe I should just go do my own thing. And
really, what I want to stop people to recognize that too, because you had a good job. You were on a good pedestal. I mean, it could grow and grow. But what I want people to hear is she made a principle-based decision. Because to move from something where there's probably a substantial salary and money coming in and moving from that, she put money aside. So just hear that, folks, and we can go over and over with our peers and our friends that do that. So awesome. Okay. So you made that, you weren't going to compromise your principles. Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't. I was kind of dying a slow death inside. And so I went back to my sales force and said, all right, what are we doing here? And they had held the line. I was the listing agent when I left, and I moved out of production. I stopped producing kind of overnight, and they had held the line, which is pretty major for us. They had held the line at the volume we were at. And I said, okay, what's next? What does everybody want to do? And I took almost 4 months with you and everybody else kind of figuring out, where are we going? What could this be? What do you want it to be? What is our true vision here? We fired every agent we had at that time. because it was transactional. And I just had come from a place where I said, I'm not going to be about that. And we started over. We just burned it down and started over with a crystal clear vision on who we were going to become, what we had to offer, and what we were not. We were clear.
So in your becoming, really good, in your becoming, was there, and looking back now, I think it's important for people to hear where you've ended up. Was it you know what, we're going to go primarily new, we're going to go experience, we're going to go a hybrid, or actually, John, it had nothing to do with that. It was more of purely, this is what we're looking for. What did that look like for you in picking an avatar?
That's a really good question. Our avatar was born out of who would benefit the most from the model we wanted to create. The model we have is not something that people do around us. We wanted to create an environment where if Justin and I would have had this environment when we left our safety nets, we wouldn't have had to rob Peter to pay Paul. We wouldn't have struggled. We wouldn't have suffered. We would have been able to just plug in and take off. And you know, hindsight's 2020. I'm super glad that happened because here we are. But I wanted to create something where people could come to this industry with what they're looking for: happiness and freedom, flexibility, big money, without saying, I'm also going to get a divorce because I haven't been home in 2 years. I'm also like 50% parenting because, you know, that's a lot, which, listen, I'm a mom of 3. It is a lot. It's a lot to have a career and parent really well. And so we looked at that and said, what do you need? What is it that an agent would need to make well into the 6 figures, to be home for dinner, to live a life full of wellness and upgrade in whatever capacity they want, and to develop themselves as human beings, not just money hungry commission agents.
Sure.
And we built it off of that. And so our avatar is somebody who understands that Thrive is a space for them to grow. And yes, selling more real estate is a byproduct of that. You're going to do a lot of personal work. You're going to do a lot of professional development to be a competent and confident agent. And by the way, you're going to sell more real estate. You're going to improve your marriage. You're going to be a better communicator. You're going to be healthier because we've got the tools, resources, and options for you.
Beautiful. And how long's Thrive been open now?
We're in our 2nd year. We went June 2020. We launched right smack dab in that global pandemic.
Isn't that great? A bunch of you crazy people did that.
Ballsy, yeah.
Yeah, you got to. Yeah, I know someone else who calls me one day. Hi, I'm opening up a startup brokerage. I go, what? Single mom, 2 kids.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what you crazy people do. And it's worked out great.
Females.
That's funny.
There's no stopping them.
No, it's like, really? You're crazy. Yeah, well, no, don't. Okay, fine. Okay, you're running the show here. What, and so how many agents you guys have right now?
So we ended last year at 19 agents. This year, right now, we're at 27. So we've got 12 in boot camp, though. I don't count them on roster until they're graduated.
Good for you. And they're not. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think and so break this down, because it's, you know, this team, how do you define a team? It's very interesting. I mean, we've got people with team models with 200 agents. We have people with team models. I mean, everything's a team. But let's just go down in the structure of it. And this is how I think it's really discerned. What percentage of the business that you guys are doing, Jessica, is provided by you at your expense? And I mean, like, you're buying leads and doing marketing to generate leads. And what percentage are your agents generating on their own?
60%. And we are an independent brokerage.
60% you provide?
No, agents bringing their own business.
Agents bringing their own.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So then when you take a look at it, how has your retention been?
You know, I love that subject. It's been awesome. We fire more people than have left us. Now, I would say we went through a little blip in this last quarter of Q4 because we hit rapid growth. And like you talk about a lot, when you hit rapid growth, it creates change overnight for people. And we had kind of a bit of an exodus. I mean, for me, an exodus was like 4 people. And it ended up being the right move. I mean, I think in those moments, you feel so much like, oh my gosh.
I'm terrible and we're terrible. And I'm just going to go sell houses.
Yes.
This sucks.
Yes.
People suck.
I should get back into listing. I don't know. After a month passes, right, you realize how many thank yous you get, how many Hey, I'm just so
And it needed, watch this though, too. So everyone hears this. It needed to happen too.
100%. Yep, it did. And when that door shut, like this new silo opened.
It's a ceiling.
It really was.
Mhm.
And we had so many people come forth. We had a $15 million producer come forth. We had a $5 million after.
That's very interesting. You know what? Everyone needs to hear this, because the other thing that's important to all of your friends and your peers in our group, if you ask everyone, tell me when your exodus was. Oh, on this date. Let me tell you when the second one was, because here's what happens. That culture evolves, and not everyone, as you grow, there's a cap in what type of environment people thrive in. But also, I think it comes down to you're constantly revisioning, because the consumer is evolving too. So,
yeah.
So that's because that is interesting. I take a look at that quarter. I want everyone to hear this, because I get the text messages. Hey, we just brought over 20 million in production. We just brought this. So, and these are just recent text messages. So hear that, you guys. Every one of you, probably not everyone, but most of you got a lid, and either it can happen to you, or if in hindsight, and it's easy to do. Knowing what you know now, how long before it happened did you know it was going to happen? Maybe
60 days. We knew in boot camp when they were in it, right?
Oh, in boot camp.
Come on.
Yes.
And so now we have the saying, a red flag is a red flag. And when you see that, and it's not
the truth, it's not a warning.
Exactly. And if it's not in alignment with culture or where you want to go and what they say they want to become, then you have to just say, hey, it's best we part ways, and this is why. And we didn't do that. We waited too long, and then it got poisonous, and it all worked out exactly the way it needed to be. And if anybody has questions on whether or not they should let go of a top producer or a brand new person that's causing that friction, the answer is yes. Yes. If it's frictionless, get rid of it.
Hey, Jessica, if you have to ask.
Yes, you've said that to me so many times. If you have to ask, I'm like, okay.
Right. Yeah. So then there's Justin too. I think what's pretty neat, and I think important for people to see, because we've got a lot of people that'll watch and listen. The husband-wife situation. I call it a situation. It's a situation. I mean, I'm coaching.
Challenge.
Sure, because listen, she goes like you go, and he goes, in his pace to it. But let's talk about this, because I've watched you guys manage it so well. What if you're looking at, and I think to share for men that hear this, because I think men can hear it and it can help them. And for women also, I'm fortunate to know Justin, he's a man's man. Don't get me wrong. So when I say this, he is a sweetheart, but he's principle based. What is it about him that allows you to be who you want to be?
Keeps me wild. He is, I would not truly, and you said it, you just said it perfectly. I would not be able to be exactly who I'm meant to be without him. He is a support mechanism and a space holder to allow me to be as wild and free as I personally need to be. Mm-hmm. He doesn't require that. He requires love and care. I require space to be. And he's excellent. He's excellent at it. I did a video today on, we're at a gas station, and I'm a terrible driver, John. I just have no patience. Can you imagine me? No patience. So I'm just like, the road is mine here, like all the lanes are mine. Look out. And he has always filled my gas tank, because to maneuver into a gas station for me is like the most impossible thing. It is painful. It's just an angry situation.
An angry situation.
It's just either I'm at fault and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Constantly, I'm so sorry. Or I'm just like, get out of the way. Right. He's great. 9 times out of 10, he fills my gas tank. So we're really clear on where our strength zones are, and we give each other enough grace to take control of those pieces, and the other person being able to surrender to that moment, to that strength piece, and really understanding it. And it wasn't always that way. It just took us a long time. And I think the business part of our relationship catapulted that, because we had to learn to say, you have veto power here. I do not. So I'm just going to say, okay.
Wow. Yeah. I'm learning these things. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Always, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And thank you for that, because I think it's really important. One other piece too, before we get back into the business side of it, you're a mom, and these aren't just hollow words that we come to a podcast and say, "Oh, you do a great job as a mom, and you do a great job as a business." No, it's like critical to you.
It is.
I'm not judging and saying other people. It's not. Gosh, they hope. I mean, they think all of our lives we're insatiable. I want to be in better shape. I want to work harder. I want to grow. I want to be a better mom in a good way. But I get to watch and see how important it is to you. Talk about that. How do you pull off this? Driving this CEO of this independent brokerage, which now you're committing to staff of a recruiter, staff of a sales manager, and growing it, a relationship with your husband, and then little ones. How do you pull all that off? Brittany does that when she comes home, and like the girls in bed, she'll go, "Oh!" No, she makes that sound, Jessica.
Yeah, same. I like Brittany. Yes. So how do I pull it off? I think this is a hard one for women or men that are in a position of passionate leadership, of that servant passionate leadership, because it never feels like you're actually working. You love what you do. So it's hard to turn that off. But I've learned to say, what are my priorities, and is this serving them? And honestly, you've done a lot of pushing me towards that. I think one time I texted you, I'm like, I'm going to get my yoga instructor license. It's going to take 200 hours. What do you think? And you're like, what the hell? Just keep doing yoga. You don't have to become the instructor. What the heck? So I think I just keep asking myself the same question, like, is this bringing me closer to what I'm on a mission for? Is this a part of my priority? And in real estate, my God, man, you got to do it a lot. You have to check yourself a lot, because it's rapid, and people like us that are animalistic, insatiable betterment crusaders, it's the perfect industry for us, because it's forever evolving. We have to constantly find new ways to reinvent how we go about the new marketplace, or just a quick pivot, a quick tweak. So you have to ask yourself, am I in alignment with my priorities? And what are my number 1, 2, and 3? My number one,
boundaries around it.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, and unapologetic. Because here's another one too that I watch you do and admire you, and I've commented on that too. I mean, not from the standpoint from the doing, but then also the symbolism of it too. Many leaders and many real estate agents want to hide what they do, their vacations or their time, like leisure time.
Yeah.
Because I don't want people to think. Yet what you've been, and I don't mean just like you're taking people on a journey in your life. I mean, from camping to spending time at the beach with the kids and all that type of stuff. Reassure people that not only from a time perspective, but you don't need to hide living your life, an inspired life.
Yeah.
I mean, and did you ever have a point of concern with that, thinking, oh my gosh, people are going to think, oh, you're working hard for me, I'm goofing off? Talk about that. I'm
from corporate America. I mean, you used to have to wear your hair in a ponytail and, studs only. I came from that kind of generation of that's how you look at things. So I think this is my number 1 when it comes to that, taking people on that journey, kind of living out loud and being authentic, is we're in the day and age of voyeurism. And I think people want to know that you're real, that you're a real person doing real things, and you're kicking ass, and you're also prioritizing. And people are going to judge any which way anyway, right? If I don't,
we're not going to make it exactly.
It doesn't matter. So I might as well say what I'm putting out there is exactly what I want to attract,
and who I am, because it's who I am.
And when you meet me, that's what you get. You're going to know I'm a beach person. I'm not a mountain climber. Like, will I do it? Yes, but I'm a beach person.
And I'll go camping.
Yeah, my face looks the same when you meet me. It's all the same stuff. Nothing's different. And I can't tell you how many times I get that comment. How many times agents will sit down and say, wow, you look just like your videos. Or, tell me about that RV stuff that you've
Thank you. That's what I was going to say next, is how often and listen, you're not well, let me just show everyone I'm a camper. Let me show everyone I like the beach. No, you're just taking people on a journey. How often with recruits do they bring up your life and your family? How often do those things come up? And how much do you think it has to do with the decisioning process people make?
It's constant. It is more, and I can tell you it continues to compound over time. It's been 3.5 years, almost 4, since we started coaching together, and you pushed video, right? And at this point in that compound effect, I have people that know more about me or remember more about my life that just occurred 6, 7 months ago, 12 months ago than I do. And I'll be like, oh, I had somebody, John, this is the most unbelievable occurrence. And I want everyone to know why it's so important to live authentically and share this as a CEO, as a team leader, as a recruiter. It doesn't matter. At the gym, someone beelines for Justin and I. We're on the treadmill on a Sunday, and he fist pumps us. And I'm like stunned, like, hey, hi. Who are you? And he's like, hey, I watch everything you guys do. He obviously, our faces are saying, we don't know you. What's going on right now? I watch you guys all the time. I'm in Title. I'm a huge fan of Thrive and how you run your company. I just wanted to let you know who I am. Can't believe we're at the same gym. If you ever want to do some business together, let me know. I'm going to send you an email tonight. Whoa. And that happens with recruits as well, constantly. Now that we have a recruiter, I'm telling you, I hear it even more because it's not firsthand. So they're more comfortable saying these things to a third party of, I've always watched Jess and Justin, and I love that she's an active mom. I love that she's disciplined and in the gym all the time. I want to be a part of that. Is that offered at Thrive? And that's what it's all about, right? You want to bring people just like yourself in, because who better to handle than someone that's after the same things you're living?
Yep, 100%. I love it. The people join people and they leave people. I mean, that is the bottom line. So a quick fast forward, let everyone know, because they've got, and thank you. I mean, the foundational personal stuff, the business stuff as we go. Let's go out 2022 now. You made some big commitments. You hired a recruiter. Yes. You've got a sales manager, and let everyone know where you're going in 2022. Where are you going to end up?
We're hitting 1,125 transactions in our neck of the woods. That's about 250 million. And we are launching our headquarters, which is a dream come true to me, John. It's got a gym 24/7. It's got a kids.
Okay, I'm jealous. I don't live jealousy, but all right.
It's exciting. Yeah. It's got a kids corner so our people can bring family in and still work and feel comfortable. It's got a marketplace with the freshest food possible. And I mean, we're just living out loud. I mean, we went all in this year. And that was a decision I had to make at the end of last year. I know
you told me you put a stake in the ground. I remember that.
Yeah. And I hired to it. I hired to where we were going, which I think is a catalyst. People, even myself, it was scary doing that. It was scary going, oh, that's another salary. Whoa, another one. Should I not get my salary this year? Like, I contemplated everything when we were hiring these folks. So, and I can tell you, just 30 days into the new year, well worth it. Like I said, we had a $20 million recruiting month last month. Our recruiter is a fantastic human and incredible at what she does. We've elevated leadership within our org, which as a leader, I don't think there's anything more gratifying than seeing the growth of other leaders. And so,
well, you don't just talk it though, too. It's interesting as we're having this conversation, is you invest in, I mean, my events are not cheap. You invested $10,000 just in registration, I believe it was, for 4 of your people. Were there 4 in the room?
Yes.
Four people to come to an event. Now, then there's flights, then there's travel, but let me go further. The opportunity cost of those people, all of you being out of the earning environment is 10 times that. And so there's people that talk about investment in leadership and then getting more coaching and training for your leaders. So, there's people that say, oh, I invest in leadership, I invest and I invest. I just want to give you all something measurable to see. With that said, though, too, here's where I want to go deeper. So I want people to hear that and know that. Because this is perfect timing. Okay, great. I brought on a sales manager, and I'm not talking about the outside coaching, training, consulting that you get from. I'm talking about, what would you tell a leader? Listen, you're bringing on a recruiter, okay, and you're bringing on a sales manager. Talk about their first 30, 60, 90 days. If you're to say to them, we've all got the onboarding so nailed with agents. How about onboarding those employees? Share with them some of the things that you think are really, really critical in onboarding those people. Yeah.
So I think when you're onboarding leadership, really talented folks like I did in Q4, you have to be crystal clear in what the vision is for your company. And I think that's your number one. There is no faltering. There is no maybe. This is where we're going.
We're going to have fun and it's great.
No, there's no BS. It's here we are. Here's where we're going. Are you on board? And number two to that, I trust you with this vision. Do you trust me? How do you win with me? How do you lose with me? How do I win with you? How do I lose with you? Getting really clear on who they are, right? As people first, what's really important to them. Like I could tell you, all 12 staff members I have, I can tell you what's important to them in their family life, their personal life, their future goals. That is critical.
Let me stop you there though, because I want, it's, again, there's things people hear, but the fortunate thing for me is I get to be behind the curtain, and I really want to illuminate this. Like, you're deep with every person. And if you can't get deep with someone, you're not a churn through humans though too. You're a work through, like with us in our long-term relationship. We both can say it right now. We are, okay, we're going to go and go and go and deep until we get that spot. But like, I mean, you're deep with each one of them. It's not, well, that person there, I don't, but no, if you're not deep with someone, like really, really deep, how long are they lasting with you?
Not long at all. I mean, it's a matter of 30 days, 60 days max. And I've gone through that last year. We went through that, a series of that. And when there are walls up, there's only so much we can do together. And that is the bottom line. There's only so much we can do together. When there's full on trust, full on connection, deep connection of trust. I mean, you can't buy that. That's earned with show me that you know me. Right? Show me that you care, and you care about my heart. You care about my family, what this is doing for me and mine. It's huge. So those are your number 1 and 2s. And then number 3, how are you going to help them get there? How are we going to help them be autonomous and full on in their role? And one way I do that is personal development. So personal development can be coaching with you, right? My recruiter is coaching with you. You're the best in the business. Who else would I put her with? It is you. And then my director of sales, I needed somebody who thought analytically, someone who was in it to win it when it goes deep into the details. Lord knows that's not me. So I put him with Nick McLean, one of your coaches. There's no one better. My voice gets stale. He needs to be with someone that's like, I can talk the way you talk and we can get in there. So
it's better. Well, watch this. And what I love too, as a leader, and there's, the value of humility. He's better than me for exactly what needs to get done. Way better. I mean, could I get there with him? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, and he's an amazing, talented, good human being.
Yes.
But it's going to take them. It's going to be lock horns. It's on, like the first call they did. What? Like,
it was amazing. Yeah, right. Mind blown. It was amazing. It really was and I was so excited. I don't know if I told you, I FaceTimed Brendan on my way to a meeting. And I'm like, tell me everything. How was it? Oh. He was still talking to Nick. So he flashed over. He's like, Jess, I can't do it right now. And I'm like, hey, okay, bye. But they had the best first call. I mean, Brendan was on cloud 9. Nick crushed it. And what I love about Nick is he's very thoughtful in his approach. He's not like a shoebox. Let's get through the 20 minutes, whatever. He's what do you need? What's important to you? Drilling in. And I love it. So
So
I'd say
good.
those are the three things I would say when you're hiring leadership is you truly got to care about what's best for them and they have to care what's best for the organization.
Well, I want to appreciate your time with me, and I know this. We're going to do this again. Like I said at the beginning, but I want to wrap up with a couple of things. First of all, is those that have watched and or are listening, jessica.cheplakllivecoaching.com. Jessica.cheplakllivecoaching.com. I think that the neat thing with Jessica is that she brings experience. And I think the most important thing, though, is outside of experience and competency, she understands that it's principles. And anyone can bring you talent and process. Listen, she's got that figured out. But I think the most important thing that she pointed out is she understands the simple things that matter. It's principles. It's consistency. But I think what I want you to also hear, and this is whether it's her as a coach, but I want you to recognize her success, though, is at the same time, she understands empathy. There's heart in this. You heard heart in this, because you can't just come with that fireball that she is. Like, I mean, we're freaking bulls in a China closet. Is that how the saying goes? Yeah. Right.
Yes, it is. Bull in a China shop.
Yeah. China shop, right? Yeah. China closet. Well, I'm still figuring these things.
Whatever. Doesn't we knew what you meant.
Yeah. So, Jessica.cheplakllivecoaching.com. You can do a discovery call with her. Jessica, thank you. I appreciate you. Anything that you want to leave anyone with before we end our time?
I think the only thing we didn't talk about is my Thrive Well stuff. And I'm happy to discuss that with anybody if they've got a desire to. So we created that program, Thrive Well, and it's born out of, and I think this is important. I don't talk about this a lot. I'm still learning.
That's where I probably didn't go in.
Yeah. So Thrive Well was born out of the pandemic and people needing something that kept them focused on health, wellness, mentally, physically, and, in their relationships. And so we created Thrive Well, which embodies all three of those categories to make sure that you have options, tools to upgrade your lifestyle. So it's anything from chiropractors to therapists to personal trainers. That's why our new headquarters has a gym. Nutrition, we give you access to just about anything you would need to make improvement in your life. And we believe wholeheartedly that that's the catalyst to optimal performance. So that's something unique in our org that I would love to see in many other people's organizations, whether it's organic that they create or we collaborate.
Well, and I think, and what's neat again, what I hope people capture on this is that, and we'll be neat the next time we come around, it'll be further along so you can share stories. I mean, there's already stories of people transforming, and transformation isn't just this physical thing. By the way, it isn't, period. It starts inside here.
100%.
But again, just like as we talked about being a spouse, we talked about being a mom, we talk about now being a leader that supports this inside out piece, is you're actually truly living it. And so I hope people capture the correlation of this, because I remember Xandra, some people caught it, some didn't. When Xandra spoke, there's one thing she said. She says, it's really simple. I don't think people are lazy. I don't think people are this or that. She says, I think that what gets in the way is there's something personal getting in the way.
100%. Yeah.
Every time.
Every time. And you got to care about that stuff, right? Because everyone's got it. We all got
you
it.
can be that. And what I hope everyone heard is you can be that person, like Jessica's going deep with people, but watch this. What you also heard is like, listen, she's a freight train too. So you can find that space, right?
Yeah, you just got to know when to slow down, right? And I think that's a skill set for people like us, all in its own. You got to know when to go. Okay,
we have multiple therapists for that, right?
Yes, because they have those outlets. Good. Thank you. I so appreciate this opportunity and sharing the story. So,
awesome. I appreciate you. Thanks so much, Jessica.
Right. See ya.